Hello, my name is Danilo Moroni, and I'm going to introduce the Bibliotheca Walleriana. It's actually pronounced with a V because it's Swedish, even though in English it looks like a W. So think of Valerian steel if you're a Game of Thrones fan. It all started in 1993 in the summer. It was early to mid-June, I think probably the second week of June in 1993. I was a student at Uppsala University in Sweden. I had completed my second Bachelor of Arts degree in the history of cartography, and on this day I just walked into Carolina Rediviva, which is the university library. And as I was going through the main entrance, something caught my eye, and I walked into an exhibit hall, or exhibition room, I should say, and up there on display were these incredible books and letters of famous people that I had read while I was in college. I'm a graduate of St. John's College, also known as the Great Books Program in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So on display were autographed letters by Sir Isaac Newton, an autograph by Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, and all kinds of amazing personalities like Gandhi and Tagore. And not only that, but there are also these first editions of these books. For example, Newton's first edition of Principia Mathematica, which is valued at about $1 million these days or more, and Copernicus, which is about $2 million. So just those two books alone is $3 million. So I'm looking at these items on display and I'm fascinated. And everywhere I look, there seems to be some name attached to these books and these autographs. And that name is Dr. Erik Waller, or in the Swedish terms, Erik Waller. And it turns out that the library collection that I was looking at was actually housed at Uppsala University Library. The very library was where I was looking at these books. And then when I took another look to see who was actually in charge of the display, it turned out it was a visiting professor, Dr. Marco Beretta from Italy, and he was an expert on Antoine Lavoisier, the chemist, who was very familiar with the Waller collection. Turns out that he actually was in the same department as I was, the history of science and ideas. So the next day, I immediately found where he was located, marched into his office and said, "I saw your exhibit. I think it's fantastic. Is there anything I can do to help? Because I'm going to start working on a master's thesis and this would be a perfect opportunity for me." And he thought for a second, then he looked up at me and says, "There's a box of correspondence to Dr. Waller that is in the library, and it's just filled to the brim with letters, and no one's ever read them before. So why don't you read through and sort through the letters and then write a composite biography of Dr. Erik Waller?" I said, "You got it. I'm in." So for the next year, I actually cataloged all the letters in that box. And that was a perfect introduction to the world of Dr. Erik Waller. Thank you so much for listening.